Hi, and welcome to Ask Better Questions with Alonzo Kelly. Today, we are going to talk about arguing and actually ending the argument in 20 seconds. What a valuable tip. Arguing with people is not fun. It is not something that I believe most people want to do, and certainly it's something that people would avoid at all costs. However, as human beings, we do not always agree or see, as they say, eye to eye. So what I'd like to offer you briefly are a couple tips to use that you can end an argument in 20 seconds. The first is to remember that you cannot engage in an argument with someone who does not have the power to accept or reject your opinion or what you're asking them to do. I'll say it again. You cannot argue with a person who has no power to accept or reject your opinion or what you are asking them to do. Think about this as a parent. If you have children and they have chores and you ask them, let's say, to take out the trash, that is not something you argue with your children about. They do not have the power to accept or reject what it is you are asking them to do. Therefore, an argument wouldn't happen. This is a matter of, I need you to do it, and you have the choice of not doing it, and consequences come later. That's a topic for a different day. However, with an adult, if I ask another adult to do something, this law or this rule also still holds true. Is the person I am in this spirited debate with, do they have the ability to accept or reject what it is that we are talking about? The other thing I want you to keep in mind, and then we'll talk about the tip on how to end it in 20 seconds, is there are actually 3 levels of listening. I hear what you're saying, I know what you mean, and the third that most people forget about is I know where you're coming from. I hear what you said, I know what you mean, and I know where you're coming from. For example, if I were to say to you, I'm not interested in attending that concert with you because I do not like big crowds. You heard what I said. Then what happens with you is you think you know what I mean. What I can also pretty much guarantee is that you do not know where I'm coming from when I say that. We've not talked about my experience in big crowds. You've made an assumption of why I may not like them because of your experience in similar situations. It's important that we listen at all 3 levels when we find ourselves in this argument or spirited debates. I hear what you said, I know what you mean, and I know where you're coming from. Now here's the tip to end it in 20 seconds. This is what you should do. First, you should say thank you. When somebody expresses their opinion and they are emotional about it, they are highly charged about it, it's very clear in their tone and their body language that it's important that you hear what they're saying, say thank you. It actually brings the anxiety in the room down. The second tip that I recommend you do is repeat back what you heard. Thank you for sharing that. This is what I'm hearing. This is what I heard you say. This is what I understood that meant. Repeat it back. It is at that point that allows the other person to clarify. If I engage in this spirited debate without repeating back, then what I'm doing is I am challenging one thing I heard that the other person either didn't say or did not mean when they said it. The final tip that I recommend you do is in reply say, it has been my experience. Thank you for the feedback. This is what I heard you say. It's been my experience that the last time we talked about this is what happened. It was my experience. Anybody who wants to argue with you about your experience at that point is a little too emotional about it or is not willing to listen to you either, in which case I would disengage from the conversation if you can. Thank you for the feedback. This is what I heard you say. This has been my experience with this situation when you ask me this. when we attend this restaurant, when we go to this place, when we hang out with that group of friends. It's been my experience. Now that gives us something to talk about. You know, as public speakers, there are actually 4 speeches that we give, and I'm going to connect it to this conversation about arguing. There's the talk I plan to give, the one I give, the one I meant to give, and the one I should have gave. I give 4 of those all at the same time. It's actually happening right now. Think about this in an argument. The last time you wanted to engage in a spirited debate with someone and they weren't in the room yet, there was the conversation you were planning to give, and then you saw them, and there was the one you delivered, and then you disengaged and you reflected on the one you meant to give, and then later on the one you should have gave. When you say thank you and repeat back what you heard and say it's been my experience, that helps eliminate all 4 of those speeches or those arguments that are going to keep happening because you didn't address it at the same time. Thanks for watching this episode of Ask Better Questions with Alonzo Kelly. I'm happy to have offered some tips on how to stop or disengage an argument in 20 seconds. Good luck with that. I look forward to seeing you next time. Find full episodes of Ask Better Questions with Alonzo Kelly online at whby.com. I invite you to find me on Twitter at KLGLLC and on Facebook, Kelly Leadership Group LLC. Thanks for watching this episode. We'll see you again soon.